Hey guys, so it's August 21st, 2015, and it is time for my week 7 update and weigh-in. So week 7 is already here, and it's just, I don't know, time is flying by, and I feel like I sound like Keto Karma when I say that, like, time is just flying by, because she always says that in her videos. But I mean, when you hear people say it, it doesn't register with you, but when you're living it and you're feeling it yourself, it's just, I don't know, surreal. And not only see results on the scale, but to physically see my body change right before my eyes, it's just, that is enough motivation. I'm sure most of you know, and even with any diet you've ever been on, you get all this like fire and motivation, and then you just fizzle out and it burns away. When I try on my 2022 size pants just for reassurance and they're still falling off of me, or I sit down and I go through some fellow ketoers Instagrams or YouTube accounts, like that just re-motivates me and gets me going again. And I mean, I'm just completely blown away by how awesome I still feel, constantly reassuring myself with, you know, research and watching other people living this life and have been living this life for so long. It's just, it lights a fire under you. And if you are feeling down and you're doing keto and something's not right, I just suggest, you know, searching for inspiration, searching for someone who is similar to you in size or goal weight, someone who maybe have had the same struggles as you, because when you see someone like you where you want to be, if that makes sense, it helps. It really does. So I encourage everybody to, you know, get on Instagram, get on YouTube, Facebook, whatever you have to do. I mean, Google, you know, keto weight loss before and after stories, whatever you have to do, just get inspired. This past week, I had decided to dedicate myself to intermittent fasting. Now, I have been doing this since the first week I started keto, unknowingly, because when you consume a lot of fat and you're burning fat as energy, you lack an appetite. You really do. And that was another thing I was skeptical too, was because people are telling, you know, saying, oh, you know, you're not ever going to be hungry and you're not going to crave sweets anymore. And I was like, yeah, right. Whatever. And it's true. It's so true. I've kind of fizzled out on the fat intake, which I know is not very keto, but I feel like I'm still in ketosis and I'm still doing good and I'm still reaping the benefits of keto, even though I'm not kind of doing it to a T. But anyway, sidetrack. So from the very beginning, I was intermittent fasting before I even knew what it was. And I would get up in the morning and I would have bulletproof coffee, and then I'd be full. I wouldn't want to eat breakfast. And so I would go hours and hours and hours, and I would forget to snack or eat or do anything. And people kept telling me, if you're not hungry, don't eat. Only eat when you're hungry. And if I did that, then I was like gonna be starving myself. So I, you know, started eating fat bombs and, you know, trying to get fat and protein into different ways that it didn't fill me up so heavily. But I didn't, you know, I was going like 16, 17, 18 hours without eating. And I even remember a day where I had my bulletproof coffee, and I realized at like 8 o'clock at night I hadn't ate in like 24 hours, and I didn't feel sick, I didn't feel weak, I didn't feel bad, I didn't feel like I was fasting. You know, when someone says fasting, it's a scary word. Like you think of, oh, my belly is gonna be hurting and I'm gonna be so hungry and how can I make it another hour? Like that's what fasting was to me before keto, and now it's completely just involuntary. So that being said, I have follow some people on Instagram and whatnot, and everybody's talking about intermittent fasting, and I'm thinking, I'm already pretty much doing this anyway. I decided, like I said, this past week to dedicate myself to intermittent fasting just to see what kind of results I got, and I wasn't gonna force myself or pressure myself into not eating. I wasn't gonna go, oh, you have 3 more hours, doesn't matter how hungry you are. If at any point in time I told myself, if I feel lightheaded, I feel dizzy, I get a headache, I feel weak, if I feel like I need food physically to keep going, then I'm not going to deprive myself of food. I weighed myself every single day this week, and I took a photograph of it, and I'm going to do like a little collage and put them all together so that other people that are doing fasting or considering fasting can kind of see the results that I was getting. And speaking of results, I'll go ahead and insert the clip now of my weigh-in this morning. So for those of you that don't remember what my weight was last week, it was 252 pounds even, and this week 247.8 this as of this morning. That is 4.2 pounds in 7 days that I lost. And I really don't have anything to attribute that to but the fasting. I mean, I'd been losing every week and not gaining, which is fantastic, and you know, hooray. Even if I lost 2 ounces, I'm happy. But 4 pounds in 1 week, I mean, I haven't seen numbers like that since my first week of keto when I was getting rid of all the water weight. So I'd say it was a success. I really feel like that intermittent fasting is a mental barrier. There's a mental barrier, not a physical barrier, because when I was doing it unintentionally, I had no issues. I had no physical issues at all. And while I was willingly doing it, I still had no physical issues, but mentally, knowing that you can't have something until a certain time, that's where the pressure comes from, and the panic is like, I can't make it 4 hours, you know. And so beforehand, I wouldn't even think. I'd be cleaning, I'd be, you know, watching TV, watching YouTube, and I wouldn't even be thinking about food. But because I couldn't have it, because I was trying to not have it, that's, I think it just meant things that I had while I was fasting. I had my bulletproof coffee every morning with the grass-fed butter, the coconut oil, and some stevia. I left out the cream all week, and there was no cocoa or anything. It was just the coffee with the butter and the coconut oil. I also had sugar-free tea, iced tea, and sugar-free lemonade Kool-Aid, and I mixed both of those. I would have like, I think it's like maybe 32 ounces or so. Wouldn't have more than that. And it was, I would do a tablespoon of chia seeds in that. So that kind of helped my belly feel a little bit fuller. I don't know if someone's gonna say to me, oh, well, you weren't really fasting if you were having chia seeds, but it worked, okay? So it worked for me, that's good enough. And then I would take shots of pickle juice whenever I would get kind of like I was getting a headache. And I do that anyway, whether I'm fasting or not. And then I would have decent sized dinners, but I feel like because my stomach was shrinking, and when I would eat, I would make these like massive plates of food, and then I wouldn't even be able to eat half of it because I would get full like that. And it also kind of disappointed me because all day when you're hungry, you're thinking of like all this like 10 zillion things that you're gonna eat once you can eat in that 4-hour period. And I would have my dinner and I would be full, and I wouldn't want dessert and I wouldn't want snacks. And I would try to eat something else in that 4-hour window so I wouldn't get the belly ache in the middle of the night. But it was just really hard to eat when it was time to eat because it didn't take very much to fill me up. And because I needed to be upping my fat intake, I was eating lots of fat bombs in my 4-hour. I would have probably have like 3 or 4 after dinner as a dessert slash upping my fat intake. So I'll go over my NSVs for this past week, and they were, I am no longer a 2X. After my job interview, I got a little over enthusiastic and I went to a uniform store and tried on a bunch of scrubs. And last time I wore scrubs was like 2012, yeah. And I was a 2X, almost a 3X, and I grabbed all 2Xs and took them in the dressing room, and none of them fit me. They were just like, I mean, literally, I couldn't even tie them with the drawstring tight enough to sit around my waist. And I'll insert a picture right now of me trying on the 2X pants. My next NSV is that finally my underwear are starting to get loose on me. They're like all baggy around the butt area. It's super sexy. I've been thinking about doing a Q&A. I watch a lot of other YouTubers do Q&As. I enjoy them. I enjoy asking questions and getting my questions answered. And you know, I've been thinking, like I said, for a while about doing my own Q&A, and I've asked everyone on Instagram if they wanted me to do a Q&A. I'm gonna ask you right now, would you like for me to do a Q&A? And this can be about keto related topics, infertility and TTC related topics, or personal things, anything you wanna know. I think it would be a lot of fun to hear what kind of questions you guys have, and then film it and answer them. This video's gone on way too flippin' long, even though I talked as fast as I possibly could. Thank you guys so much for watching and all of your support once again. And if you want to see the Q&A, leave it down below. And if you have any questions about fasting or my week or my weight loss or anything, leave it down below. I love you guys so much.